Tony, have you seen that letter PETA sent to GW asking them to remove the fur from all the models?
PETA? What? You mean Arsenal goalkeeper Petr Cech?
No, it's an acronym. People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals? That's not PETA. That's PETA.
That's what I said. Pathetic.
How you doing, guys? Big Mac Dance here again today with the 4th weekly episode of Warhammer Thoughty. Now, what are we going to talk about this week? Well, I bet you can guess from the intro and from the title of the video, of course. But yeah, we're going to talk about PETA's letter to GW, or PETA's letter to GW. I like to say PETA because PETA is a name, P-E-T-E-R, spelled that way. So, PETA's letter to GW. Yeah, it's... Firstly, let me say, I think the prevention, or the people for the ethical treatment of animals, being for the ethical treatment of animals is a very good thing. It's a noble cause. I don't think anyone would disagree. But yeah, I think they've got something wrong with them in writing to GW. Now, don't get me wrong, they've got a right to contact anyone they see fit if they think it will help their cause, in an attempt to try and stop people wearing furs and stuff, because the fur trade is, should we say, not very well regulated around the world. Part of the problem I see with this letter to GW is I think they're targeting the wrong people with this letter. Now, if you're not sure of what was in the letter, basically it was a request to GW CEO, Mr. Roundtree, to remove all fur and pelts from GW's miniatures at the first available opportunity. That request itself, I think, was motivated by the idea that it encourages people to wear fur. The issue I have with that is the wargaming hobby, and GW side of things in particular, is such a niche in society as a whole that even if it encouraged 1% of people who consume GW's products, if you like, to go out and buy a fur coat, that has such a little impact on society that I really think they're targeting the wrong people there. You know, you walk into a game store, how many fur coats do you see on guys playing Warhammer 40,000 or Warhammer Age of Sigmar or Blood Bowl? I've never seen one. You know, you see leather coats and stuff like that, you know, granted. That's a different side of things. They didn't ask for the removal of leather from the miniatures. They asked for the removal of furs from miniatures because somehow they think that these miniatures encourage people to go out and buy fur. But if the people playing the game and the people that read the novels don't go out and buy fur, who's going to be encouraged to go out and buy fur because of these miniatures? Nobody. You know, not that I can see anyway. Somebody more fashion conscious is all of a sudden going to see a GW miniature and say, "Oh, that's a nice fur coat. I'll go and buy one. That's a nice cloak. I'll go and find where I can get a fur cloak. A nice animal pelt around my waist, dangling down. It's still got the paws on and everything. Yeah, I'll get that." For me, it's not really an issue, that side of things. They could have asked GW to take out the microbeads that they've just put into some of the technical paints, some of the basing paints in particular. They've gone for like a rougher basing paint option, and they've added microbeads, which are harmful to animals in the wild. If you don't know what microbeads are, they're little plastic beads, tiny plastic beads that, when they get into our water systems and then are flushed out into the ocean, samples of fish have been taken, and since these microbeads were first used in things like cosmetics, for like exfoliant scrubs and things like that, since these microbeads were first introduced into products like that, they've started to find traces of microbeads in fish and in our food chain, basically. So they could have asked them to remove microbeads from the paints that GW have only just started using after a controversy in the past few years of the pharmaceutical companies and cosmetic companies being encouraged to remove the microbeads from their products. GW have only just started using them. But I'd have understood if they've asked them to remove the microbeads, because that does go on to harm animals potentially. But the asking them to remove furs from miniatures in such a niche industry, I don't see what impact it has. One other thing to note about PETA's letter is that they tried to reference some characters and factions from Warhammer 40,000 that, I think to sort of show they knew what they were talking about, kind of thing. It was a half-hearted attempt, shall we say. So the letter starts, I've got it here, I'm going to read a bit of it. From the mighty Liman Rus to Horus and Horus Lupercal, to Chaos Warriors and the Sisters of Silence, Warhammer features an abundance of characters who wear what appear to be animal pelts, which just doesn't add up. Now, they're saying it doesn't add up, I think, because it's in the far future. So they'd have technologies to keep them warm other than just furs, other than wearing furs. So let's take the Space Wolves as an example. They live on this death world called Fenris. It's a frozen world, and the winters last a ridiculous amount of time because the planet takes an elliptical orbit around its sun, I think, if I remember correctly. And so basically, it's so cold most of the year that the people of the planet wear furs and stuff like that. Now, although Warhammer 40,000 is set in the year 40,000, or I think at the minute they're in 40,999, although it's set then, the idea behind the universe is that a lot of technology has been forgotten about and left by the wayside, kind of thing. So there's no Nike Storm Fit, there's no like ski gear that keeps you warm and stuff like that. All that technology has been forgotten by humanity because they've expanded across the galaxy, and basically there's been that many wars and stuff that a lot of technology has been lost and things have been forgotten. And yeah, that's sort of the idea behind the universe. So the idea that technology will be sufficiently advanced to keep people warm without fur pelts is kind of ridiculous. PETA clearly don't understand the universe. But another thing I'd say is, it says just a bit further down, while we appreciate they are fictional, draping them in what looks like a replica of dead animal sends the message that wearing fur is acceptable, when in fact it has no more place in 2017 than it would in 40,000. Now, this is a massive oversimplification of society's what's acceptable in society. What they're doing is judging what is acceptable in that society by what is acceptable in this society. In countries around the world, there's different levels of what is acceptable in society. Take Japan, for example. Kissing in public is frowned upon, and in India, in fact, I think kissing in public is illegal. But in the West, it's not encouraged, and people, will sometimes think, "Oh, what are they doing?" But it's not looked down upon in the same way. So the idea of judging a society set in the year 40,000 by today's norms is absolutely ridiculous. And I think they're kind of suggesting that there's no reason that these warriors would wear furs, when in actual fact, it's a warrior culture, and in warrior culture, hunting and stuff is encouraged. And things like trials to become a space marine or a space wolf may include acts like slaying a wild beast, and then you get to wear that fur as a trophy. Whilst in England, trophy hunting isn't really a thing anymore, that still happens in America, and obviously PETA will have issues with that as well. trophy hunting and big game hunting and things like that. It happens. But to say it has no place in the year 40,000 is absolutely outrageous, because they clearly don't understand the universe. They've not done the research. If PETA wouldn't even exist in the year 40,000, that's, it's such a grimdark galaxy that if the universe went that way, PETA wouldn't even exist. Religion was abolished by this Emperor of Mankind in the year running up to year 30,000, basically, before the Horus Heresy and stuff. Religion was wiped off the face of terror, which says what kind of a galaxy it is. If somebody did try to do that, now there'd be a massive outcry. But let's say somebody did try to do that, it just wouldn't happen in today's society. But in that society, it has happened. It's been allowed to happen. So comparing today to the year 40,000, or the 41st millennium, it's absolutely ridiculous. These characters are fictional, like they said. These characters are fictional. At least they're acknowledging that. But then to go on and request that the fur be removed from these characters is outrageous, because it's about artistry as well. It's like asking Van Gogh to not paint sunflowers because those flowers are in a vase and they've been taken out of the ground. It's cruel to the flowers. It's absolutely ridiculous. That painting's been done. You couldn't ask them to get rid of it. I mean, I guess you could, but would they? No. And I don't think GW will be removing fur from the miniatures anytime soon either. It'd be interesting to see if GW actually respond to that at all. But it's been a week now and they've not done, as far as I'm aware. There's been no official response. So, there we go. There is, however, a side of me that thinks this is just a publicity stunt, basically. And it's a relatively successful publicity stunt, if it is a publicity stunt, on the basis that it's even made it into the mainstream media in the UK. I think The Guardian or The Independent, one of the two, has run an article about it. And the Daily Mail has run an article about it on their website, maybe not in the main papers, the actual physical papers, but on their website they've definitely run an article about it. And the number of people, like all my friends, they wouldn't read the Daily Mail in real life, but they find it entertaining to read the online articles because some of them are so outrageous. But they'll go to the Daily Mail website and they might come across that, and then they see that story about PETA and GW. So I think as a publicity stunt, it's a reasonably successful publicity stunt, and that's probably what I believe it is, a publicity stunt, purely that. Is it right to sort of almost attack another company, a company that's not, a giant company in terms of like Nike or Adidas or McDonald's, or Tesco? It's not up there with those companies. It's a company in a niche industry that if GW were forced to remove all the fur pelts from their miniatures, it would cost them millions, I believe. It's probably, I don't have any stats available to me. I could compile them, but it'd take a while. But it's probably around half the GW product line that has fur pelts on it. Fur pelts, fur coats, no knickers, whatever. It's probably half the GW product line, so they'd have to destroy all the moulds for those products, which cost thousands, the moulds. That's what I'm led to believe anyway. These moulds cost thousands, and then they would have to resculpt more miniatures to replace those miniatures. In the meantime, they wouldn't be able to sell those miniatures. It would cost them millions to do that. So if, this misguided publicity stunt from PETA led to the government banning fur pelts and fur cloaks and representations of dead animals on miniatures, and then GW had to abide by that, GW would be crippled, financially crippled. So it could have had a dire outcome to the company itself. I don't think it will lead to that, because I think people have seen it for what it is, a publicity stunt, or just a ridiculous request at the very least. And, what's the problem with having a plastic representation of fur on a miniature? I don't think there is a problem, because, like I said, this industry is such a niche in society that there's no real impact on society as a whole that leads to things like people then going out and buying fur coats and stuff like that. I've never seen a gamer wearing any fur. Like I said, I've seen them wearing leather, but that's potentially because the people who are into war games tend to be into things like rock music, metal music, stuff like that, and leather's part of that niche in society, part of that social scene. Leather jackets, big, Doc Martin leather boots, things like that. So that's not even necessarily because of Warhammer in particular, or wargaming at all. It's potentially because of their other societal, who they hang around with, basically, and how they identify themselves in society alongside other people. So there's my thoughts on PETA. I'm a bit late to this topic, purely for the fact that this is a weekly series going out on a Sunday, and obviously this story broke last Monday, I think, last Sunday or last Monday. So I'm very late. There's something else I could be talking about in this week's topic of not topic of the week, but this week's Warhammer Thoughty video that happened. A story broke yesterday with some leaked images of certain miniatures that are coming out in March time. But I won't be talking about those this week. I may talk about leaks or something next week though. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and if you've got any suggestions for topic of the week, pop it in the comments down below. I'm alright for topics at the minute, but they could come in handy in future if I run out of things to talk about. Like I said, thanks very much for watching, guys. I will see you on the battlefield.